Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I am so happy to see you join me again. This installment is all about dogs. In one of my previous videos, one of my kind followers asked me to answer a question about how to prevent fear of dogs. And I thought, what a great idea that is. Because, yeah, there's a story behind it, of course. So, yeah, let's get to it in my story. But beforehand, if this is what you like to know more about, please do subscribe. Hit the like button, leave me a comment below, and let me know what you think. As you can see, I do try to give you content that you ask for and that you can enjoy and learn from. Okay, so my story goes like this. When I was 13, I got a little job delivering newspapers. And at that time, it was basically all the rage for if you had a bicycle, not motorized, you would get a little job with the local newspaper and deliver newspapers to the roads close to your home. Anyway, my parents decided that they would add on a few routes, and on the longer routes they would take me in the back of the car and I would, get out and deliver newspapers like that. So at one particular house, I got out, I saw the owner, I said hello to him. He fully ignored me. I said hello again, testing to see if he could hear me. He fully ignored me again, and his dog basically came running out and bit me. And since then, I had a bit of a intense fear of German Shepherds. I did have a few stitches that day and what have you, and to be very honest, I don't blame the dog. I blame the owner for ignoring me and, not calling his dog, and he just did not act appropriately for an owner. And after that, I went to find out exactly what to do when you are with a dog that you don't know. Now, with me, I grew up with 2 Dobermans and a Rottweiler, which is what I had at that time. And yeah, Turbo, the Rottweiler, was like a big teddy bear, always. So I suppose unless you didn't know him and he wanted to protect his family. So in this video, I will take you a little bit further to see what I learned about what to do when you are around a dog, and doing these things actually helps you prevent from being afraid of dogs. When it comes to children, did you actually know that most dog bites are actually from a dog that the child is acquainted with? And it's because they get a little too friendly, and the dogs don't like what they are doing. Because we have to remember that while we treat our animals like family, they are dogs in the long run, and we have to respect their boundaries and learn what their triggers are. So, tip 1. Never hug or kiss a dog, especially children. It is extremely important because, they could feel smothered, and the dog's behavior could easily erupt, and they think, okay, what are you doing? Why are you holding me so tightly? I'm gonna bite you. And yeah, then you get bitten. So for children, you actually want to teach your children, it's gross when dogs lick you in the face or something when they're little, so that they understand not to hug a dog, possibly their own dog, and also strangers' dogs. Talking about strange dogs to start, not all dogs are going to be happy-go-lucky dogs that will lick you to death when they see you. So always have a conversation with that dog's owner first to find out how their dog normally behaves. In other words, you're going for a walk in the park, you see an owner there, and you say to them, "Oh, you've got a lovely dog, would you mind if I pet them?" And the owner will turn around and say to you, "Please don't." And in fact, that is the best way to handle it. Dogs, can you imagine coming into a room and everybody wants to touch you? Now, especially with Corona, how are you going to feel if every single person, "Oh, I want to touch you"? It's going to drive you a little bit over the edge. You're going to feel grouchy and you're going to want to snap. Your way of snapping is using your voice and saying, "Please don't touch me." A dog is going to growl and say, "Please don't touch me." They will then bark, "Please don't touch me." And if you continue, they are going to bite. That is their warning signals. Obviously there's body language that is warning signals too, but I'm not going to get too much in depth with that in this video. I did a little recording with you, for you, with Tristan and Cami, and while she did a very short reaction, I hope you will get the idea of what we were trying to show you in the video. So yeah, watch the little video here. In this video, we are trying to show you that if a dog rushes at you, say you're walking in the road and a dog rushes at you, what are you going to do? Your reaction should be to be as boring as possible. So the easiest thing to remember is put your hands towards your chest and be a statue. Stand as still as possible. If you have any food in your hands, if you are visiting people and your children are running with toys in their hands, teach them to drop the food or drop the toy. Look, losing a bit of food and having to replace the food is going to be easier than having stitches to the face. So, while being a statue is boring for dogs, what will happen is that they'll rush up to you, probably give you a good sniff, and then wander off and do their own thing. Sniffing, in their world, is dog mail. They're basically getting to know you. So they rush up to you, they smell what you're all about, they get your messages via your sweat, your hormones, all the smells, your perfumes about you, and they think, "Oh, okay, that's what this person is about, let me move on." All done and over with. And a bite, or possible bite, has been prevented. So when it comes to teaching kids, you want to practice this beforehand and pretend to be the dog running towards them and see what they do. Like we held Snoopy outside. Perhaps you want to let them hold a toy and teach them to drop the toy. And yeah, that just gives them a little bit of preparation. But for adults, you just remember, drop anything that you have in your hand that the dog could possibly want and make yourself into a statue. Never scream and run away. It's just going to make the dog think, wow, this is a nice game, and run after you. And they might bite, because then your adrenaline goes up and you really want to fight them off, and one thing leads to another. So to prevent anything like that happening, don't scream, don't run away, make yourself into a statue and drop everything that you have in your hands. A lovely little tip is to not stare dogs in the eye. In dog behavior world, if a dog doesn't want to make eye contact with you, they are very likely not going to be paying attention to you. They're not going to want to bite you. That's going to be it. It's a sign of avoidance. They're avoiding you and they will move on. A sign with even other dogs, they won't look at the other dog with a signal of avoidance, and they will just move on. There won't be an argument. So that's always something to watch out for, that they aren't looking at you intently, and don't make eye contact with them. Like I said in a previous video, what's the best thing to do? Give them side eye. And yeah, that way you're not looking at them directly, you're not being a threat, and they'll be fine with it. The best reason for giving side eye as well is if the dog moves off, you always have an eye on where he is without making eye contact. If the situation has calmed and the dog is now standing around, either you stand still until their owner can move them off, or if you notice that they are not making eye contact with you and that they want to move off on their own, walk backwards so that you can always keep an eye on where they are and move on with what you are doing. Take a good few breaths. Keep yourself calm. As soon as they feel your adrenaline, they're going to want to act with adrenaline. So yeah, take a few breaths. I have got a good few breathing exercises for you to practice with on TikTok, so head over there. Yeah, just try and be calm, be a statue, drop anything in your hands. Yes, I know I'm repeating it. It's the best thing to do. If you are by any chance knocked to the ground, or if you fall and a dog comes rushing up to you, what are you going to do? You want to protect yourself, so you put your arm over your head and you let them sniff and move on. Once again, you don't want to scream, you don't want to make sudden movements, try and get up while the dog is there. The best thing to do is be a stone. So the first one, be a statue, this one, be a stone. And being a stone just helps you cover up your essential parts, so if the dog does want to bite, anything that you don't want the dog to bite is covered up, especially your face. One little thing, never shout, scream, make noise, tease or taunt dogs. They remember it. For instance, right now, we have a drug addict neighbor who loves to tease Cammy. And quite frankly, it's the bane of our lives, and we've told the SPCA about it. It is just something you don't want to do. That animal remembers it. They are not as stupid as you think they are. They are damn well intelligent. And if they catch you, when they have an opportunity to get you, they will. Let me give you a little example. I had a Doberman. She was exceptionally clever. We could leave the gate open, and her, Turbo the Rottweiler, and Rocky the Samoyed would stand behind the line of the gate. So even if the gate was open, they would stand behind that line. They would never ever cross that line. However, there was this little prick who would ramp the pavement every single day, a few times a day, on his scrambler, and he would entice her to the point that she wanted to kill him. And yeah, you do it again and again and again, and you take the consequences, basically. One day this little prick decided, I'm going to ramp the pavement with my scrambler, and we had just arrived home and the gates were open. Racy ran outside the gate and pulled him off his bike. She didn't bite him, nothing. She just pulled him off his damn stupid little bike. And then he wanted to complain, and we said, well, you have been doing this and this and this every day, and we have made complaints about you doing this every single day. She did not bite you. Get moving. And that is exactly how it is. Dogs will not forget what you do. So don't taunt them. Don't tease them. I cannot stand a person who teases a dog. It is a big no-no. So, you can see I'm really passionate about animals and how to treat them. So, yeah, let's go on more about what not to do. If you visit people, you have children, teach your children not to run and scream and be loud around other people's dogs. Teach them not to lay on a dog. It is so wrong. Dogs are not horses. It is one of the biggest no-nos and the biggest lead up to a dog bite. So just don't do it. Teach your children not to do it. Teach them that it's gross, or that, that the dog isn't safe, especially for little kids. When they get older, you can start to ease up on the rules so they know what to do to come near a dog and how to behave. Because kids that don't behave, kids that have no manners, are a big no-no around dogs. They will be bitten. They will be a target. Dogs don't like bad manners. And that's a good little tip if you have children. Teach them that your dogs don't like bad manners, and teach them to keep their manners up. Teach them to be well behaved. We need good citizens on this planet. We need good role models for the future. Also, when it comes to dogs, aggressive behavior is not amusing. So if you get somebody who comes by and they aggressively play with a dog, it is another no-no. It just teaches bad behavior to the dog. You always want to be setting a good example and teaching that dog good behavior, even if you are a visitor in their area. I had a visitor once again. He used to come and clean the carpets. He'd always play roughly with my dog. I wasn't there the one day and she bit him. I warned him. His problem, not my problem. You don't do certain things around dogs. You need to watch your behavior. You need to remain calm. You need to not play with them aggressively. You need to not tease them. And you need to know how to approach them. Approach them in a way that is non-threatening. And always ask their owners first if it is okay to approach them, because some dogs are naturally aggressive. That's why when you go to a dog park, you will notice different color leads. A red lead usually means, or red collar means stay away. Others will mean caution, so I could snap, but I'm not always aggressive towards other dogs. And then there's a dog that will come up to you and lick you to death. So yes, you always have to ask the owners. So if you have a fear of dogs, speak first, ask the owner. If that's a friendly dog, you'll be able to pet the dog. The dog will be friendly. The dog will lick you. They'll rub themselves against you. It'll be a wonderful experience. Just approach them non-aggressively and try not to look them in the eyes. Approach them with your hand down and low. The less aggressive you are looking to them, the better for them, and the more comfortable they'll be with you. Just to reiterate again, remember that a dog will give warning signals. So if a dog starts to growl, that is the first warning sign. They might snap, going, ah! Another warning sign. They might bark, another warning sign. And of course, there are different barks, so you watch out. You watch for the hair standing on the neck. These are their signals to say they are not happy, and it is best for you to make your statue move and move on. You don't want to interact with that dog. You also don't want to sneak up on a dog. Sneaking up on them, they get a fright. Maybe they're in a deep sleep, you don't know what the situation is, and they turn around and snap because they're protecting themselves. So once again, it's all about your behavior that's going to trigger their behavior. So it's all about the way you act around them. So the calmer you behave around them, the less aggressive you are, the better your experience with the dog is going to be. If a dog is eating, you also want to stay away from them. You don't really want to touch an eating dog. For instance, Cammy, we can touch her, but because we know her, we know what her reaction is going to be. Some dogs have food aggression, and that basically means they are protective of that food because their life, their behavior all revolves around food, water, and shelter. So when it's one of their main resources, they can get an aggression factor towards that food. So you just want to leave them be when they're eating. We go up to Cammy, we can pet her, but she does, she puts her tail between her legs and that kind of thing when she eats. So we know there is an issue there. With other dogs, you never know. They could be eating, you put your hand towards them, your child tries to put their hand in the plate, and there you have it. They're protecting their resources, and you have a bite. Last but least, always remember that if you have a dog, not every dog is just like your dog. So while you wouldn't go to the shop and hug the first stranger that you see, you wouldn't go to a dog park and hug the first dog that you see. Just remember, they have their own boundaries, and your behavior is going to trigger theirs. So just watch yourself. Be calm. Take a few breaths. Stand still. Let them sniff you to find out what you are about. And they'll move on quite happily because they know from their scent what you are all about. They can tell exactly what a kind of person you are from their scent. Their noses are exceptionally intelligent. And yeah, if you're a good person, obviously, they're going to just give you a good sniff, move on. If you're not a good person, yeah, really watch out. I personally think that dogs can sniff out a bad person instantly. So yeah, I noticed with Cammy too, when we're sitting in the car at the shops, there are people that will come past the car. Oh, hello, Cammy, you gorgeous. Oh, well, they don't know her name, but oh, hello, gorgeous. You are such a beautiful girl. The one lady even turned around and said to her, you know you gorgeous, don't you? And she wagged her tail and she was quite happy with this lady. Another guy passed the car talking on his phone and having a row with somebody on the phone. I think it was a newspaper that he didn't receive or something, and she actually growled and barked. And that was, how long did she know him? She picked up his attitude from his angriness on the phone call, and she didn't like that at all. So yeah, calm your mood around them, take a few breaths, everything will be okay. It's all the things to prevent the bite, and that's how you do it. Always ask the owner first, and that's how I'll end off. I do hope you enjoyed this video and took something away from it. I hope that in future you know a little bit more of how to behave around dogs, because that obviously is going to be the best thing when it comes to fear about dogs, is really interacting with the right dog and knowing how to behave yourself, so that you don't put yourself into a dangerous situation and don't put the dog into a situation that he feels that he's threatened and needs to react. So yeah, if you enjoyed that, please do follow my channel. I have lots of info about animals, lots of info about self-care and my healing journey. So until next time, be sure to have that bell on so you can see when that next video is up. Cheers.